All right, day 4. I figured out the problem with the transparency issue. We're going to kind of work through that today. I'm going to close out this file that I've been kind of showing off here earlier. I'm going to go to a general, just a blank new screen here. Do me a favor, put up here for your mesh, Shift A, go to plane, just put a plane, just a regular plane. And then open up your browser. It can be Firefox or whatever you're using. I'm using Opera. Let me go to my Opera browser here. Go find it. There it is. And I'm going to turn you on to a few different sites here that I use for getting free textures. Good. Recording just fine. Bring that back on up. There we go. Okay. Here's a site that's critical. Now, this is where you can go get free images and free textures, and it's absolutely free for commercial and personal use. And they're designed for use with 3D animation, texturing, and or just compositing. The first site is called textures.com. Okay, here I'm just going to go to the main page here. Come on, there we go. Cool. Textures.com. Go there. Sign in right now for a free account. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some of these images here and their alpha textures to test out what we had a problem with yesterday. So you go to textures.com, and I'm going to just copy and paste this and put it into the Zoom chat. Command C, and go to my Zoom. And I'm dropping the link right into the Zoom. Do me a favor, since we're here already at this particular one, these little leaves here, this hazel leaf 01, download that one. So I'm going to click on it and look at what you get. It's going to obviously giving you a preview, right? And then look at this, right? It's giving you your color maps, your height map. It's giving you your normal mapping and your translucency. And there's your alpha map here. Okay. So what I want you to do is download the 512 version here, the 512 by 512 version. It should be pretty quick. So you want to download each of them. So I'm going to say, can we download them as a group? I don't know if they allow you to do that. So maybe what we'll do is I'm just going to download each one at a time. I'm going to place it. I've got a folder, West Hills College. There's my foliage folder there. That's what I was looking for. Texture maps, images, texture maps, West Hills College presentation. So I'm going to keep it in there. I'm going to, this is the leaves, the hazel leaves. So I'm going to make a new folder. Call it hazel leaves. If I can spell it right. Double click it. And I'm going to drop that one in, the albedo map. All right, I'm going to go to the next one, on over. And it should go right back to the folder. Drop that on in there. And I'm going to show you another site that you're going to really love, even more than this. I'm going to drop this one, the normal map in. I'm going to drop this other one in. And then also the clip map, which is important. And the final one, I believe this one is the, what is this one? I'm not sure. I think that's going to be let's see, let me go ahead and click on this here, save it. Cool. All right. Now, remember this page, textures.com. Bookmark it, or write it down on a notepad to take with you to go home. This is all recorded anyway. Now, another site you're going to really love. It's called Polyhaven. I'm going to click it here. Polyhaven.com. Check this out. This thing's amazing. I'm going to also copy that and go over to Zoom, drop it in. There you go, polyhaven.com. And go set up my Wacom tablet here to work properly with oh, it's not seeing it, is it? Okay, it's going to give me a little bit of a hard time. That's why we bring a mouse in addition. All right, go to Polyhaven. Now check out Polyhaven. It's this is very cool. Now, if let's kind of get this, minimize that there. All right, so in Polyhaven, it gives you a lot of cool stuff. Now, here are your assets, your HDRIs, your textures, and even models. This is all free, again, for commercial or personal use. HDRIs are a 360 degree image. So if I click on it, there you go. HDR images, 360 degree wraparound, which we're going to use consistently in 3D software. Got this freaking advertising here. It's kind of like, go away. It won't go away. If I decide to download any of these, like this one, for instance.
Oh yeah, so you broadcasting now?
Yeah, I'm broadcasting. That must be your wife in the background.
You broadcasting? No, just friend.
Oh, just a friend? Okay. All right. So if I click on the Studio Country Hall, check this out. Right up here, it says a 4K. If I drop it down, you can go 1K, 2K, 4K, 8K, or 16K. This is all free. Right? So this is like a what I would like to say a big ass image. The 8Ks, right? It's huge. And it's all free. So we'll play with this in just a little bit. I'll show you how to bring it inside of Blender and use it as a background to get your models to interact in, to help tell the story. And now, but check this out. If we go to the textures. Now remember we just downloaded like the color map and the displacement map, and that your color images all come with several different versions of the same image. Check this out. So you can come here. I don't know what's up with this advertising here. It's like, go away. Anyways, I'm going to block this stuff. You can get any texture you want. For example, if I choose this brick wall and click it and download it, if I go to say I want to download the 4K option, let's go ahead and give it a minute because it's thinking. Right there, I think I'm going to click this here under 4K, download it. All right, I'm going to download it to, what is it called, brick wall? Okay, I'll make a new folder called a brick wall. I'm going to show you what you're getting. Now, this is a 4K texture, and 4Ks are pretty large. Inside the brick wall, and it's downloading it as a zip file. So I save it, It's done already. It's because I got a fast, I'm wired into the network here. And if I open up that folder, it's a zip. So I'm going to double click it. And I've got the zip file installer on here. There we go. And it puts the textures inside a folder. And it also gives you the blend file for Blender. So not only do they give you the individual textures, it gives you the Blender blend file so that you can actually just open it up in Blender and take a look at it. So if I drop this into my folder, I'm going to go grab both of these, unzip these right into here, into this folder, and go take a look at the images themselves. Double click on textures, and I'm going to go to my view and go to a much larger view. There we go. See, there are your textures. So you have your EXR, which is EXR files is a photographic image that has a much greater range of tones and colors embedded in it than a standard JPEG. JPEG has a limited amount of colors and tones because it's trying to travel very quickly over the internet. As a result, this is a very large extended range of colors and tones, in effect making it a much larger file. But there are your images. This is what you're getting. Some you may get more. You may get a clip map with it, like the flowers that we or the leaves that we downloaded. We received a clip map. You're going to see why in just a moment. All right, so that's a great site. There's another one that another student turned me on to. Let me. It's called Ambient CG, materials, HDRIs, substance files for Substance Painter, 3D objects, right? This is all free. You can download these and play with these in Blender, right? They're limited on their 3D objects, but the HDRIs and their materials, they've got a lot. Look at that. I mean, some great stuff in here. We're actually going to start texturing stuff, right? You can utilize any of this stuff for that. Okay, so we downloaded that one leaf one, right? All right, so everybody knows where they are. No. Okay, so if you haven't done it, I'll give you I'll pause the recording now. I'll give you a couple of minutes and let you recording. All right, now I can't say enough about the importance of being organized. You got to know where things are. So I'll just show you how I organize all my stuff. I have a folder called Blender Projects. Let me see where I put them. I think I put this under D drive. So under my drive, I have two drives. My C drive, my main drive. I've never put anything on my C drive. I put everything on my secondary drive, my D drive. Because if the C drive crashes, I still have all my stuff here in my second drive. On my second drive, I have a folder called Zero Blender Files, and everything is organized. Now, this is my vacation laptop, so not everything's on here. On my main desktop, this thing be filled up completely. But every folder is a folder that represents a particular client or a particular job. And like, for example, I got my Lightwave roundtable discussions that I do on Sundays. I put all my separate stuff in there. I've got, what if I have in here? My Robert Thune, that's a client of mine. I've got my Impulse Drive, a project for the Star Trek ship that I'm actually designing for him. That's in his folder, but every client gets their own folder. And inside that folder is another folder called Images. All of my images I'm going to use to texture anything, my models, goes inside the Images folder. So for example, if I say, who wants to be in here? I'll put in here right click, let's go over here, and I'm going to add a new folder. And we'll say Larry, right? So I'm going to do a job for Larry. Larry's online right now. So for Larry Baird, right? So I'm going to do a job for Larry Baird. So Larry Baird will get his own folder. Inside that folder, inside Larry's folder, I'm going to make a new folder called Images with a capital I. The first letter always capital I. It's got to redo that. There we go. Images. The next folder I'm going to have, I'm going to call it Ref Images. So for reference images, so ref images. So if the client gives me reference images for completing their job or any detailed images, they all go in that reference images folder. The blend file, now the blend files I just put into the root of Larry Baird's folder, right? So I'm doing animations for him or doing the models for them. They'll all be separated. So for example, if it's going to be like a Starship Enterprise warp nacelle engine that I'm doing for him, I'll call it, warp nacelle engine Larry Baird, and then it'll be .blend. That'll be my blend file. And then I'll always save my files incrementally. Like I'll do a beginning stage and call it Larry Baird 001. Next stage 002, 003. So I always have all these variations of it saved up in case I ever need to go back and make any changes. Does that make sense? Okay, so keep everything organized. For this class, I made I have a presentations folder because whenever I do presentations for schools or Comic-Con, which I'm going to be doing a presentation for Comic-Con coming up, my panel was accepted, and it's going to be on this. It's kind of like this class using 3D modeling for telling a story and using Blender 3D. So I'm going to be doing, for that, I'll be doing like a whole galaxy ring planet type concept where people get to watch me do it in front of them. So for this class, I put that in a special folder called Presentations folder. Under the Presentations folder, you get to see all the names of the institutions I've done stuff for. Adobe Educational Leaders 2019, Adobe Educational Leaders 2020, Amazing Scale Modelers Podcasting, Angela Hallbrook, who's the dean of, not the dean, she's the lead instructor over at college, Coastline College. Comic Fest, there's Comic Fest 2022, that's a comic book convention. They're all organized according to the presentations that I'm doing. And today's presentation is under West Hills College right there. So under West Hills College, I've got my images folder. Under the images folder, let's see, I got my Earth maps, so you can see all that organized there. So you want to stay as organized as possible. And there's the texture maps, and that is texture maps. There we go. That's where my folder is going to be. Let's see, I've got my hazel leaves here, but I also have other options. You can see my clip maps. Let's go to my larger view here. Let's pull this down. View, extra large. There we go. It makes it a lot easier. Let's talk about these maps. Now, the guys online, they know this part already, but you guys, this is new to you guys. Your image maps is not only producing the color and the detail on your object, it's also producing fake textures that make it look like they're three-dimensionals and or real textures. And we're going to do both today. Your color map, you see that word color at the end? That's your color map. Displacement map, displacement at the end, that's the map that's actually going to take your geometry and turn it into a real surfaces. Your normal and your bump map are fake surfaces. What they're doing is they're interacting with the light source to make it look like it's textured, but they're not really textured. The reason for those is that you save on memory. You don't have to put extra polygons into your 3D model in order to create that actual surface on the leaf. So what you're doing is you're faking it with lighting, utilizing your bump mapping and or your normal map to make it look like there's actual surface there. However, we're going to do both. We're going to also put an actual surface on it utilizing the displacement map. So displacement displaces the polygons in 3D space, right? All right, so let me go back to texture maps. Click on that. I see what I've got. Let me take a look at the leaf number 23. There we go. So if we take a look at these, this is just another leaf, extra large. Okay. If you take a look at your clip map, right? This is the problem we were having yesterday. The black represent the areas that's going to be transparent. The white represent the areas that's going to be opaque. Standard procedure in any 3D program on the planet. A clip map or a transparency map simply hides the areas on your image that you don't want to see. Does that make sense? So that's what this map is doing. So it's solid black and harsh edge, with the white. So you absolutely are clipping out the areas around these leaves. Your color map, by the way, let's take a look at that one. That's your actual leaf. That's just a photograph of the actual leaf you're going to create in Blender. You can take a cell phone camera, go find a leaf outside, get real close, take a picture of it, put that leaf in the background in Blender, build the leaf in Blender, and then put the texture on top of the leaf in Blender. And it's going to look just like the leaf that you actually have in your hand from outside. That's basically what we're going to be doing, except somebody else took the pictures for us, right? Let's close that one out. Let's take a look at displacement. Displacement means that you actually, like I just explained, you're actually displacing the geometry based on what? Based on values. The brighter the value, the higher up it goes. The darker the value, the lower down it goes. So what you're doing is you're actually physically displacing the mesh so that it looks as an actual three-dimensional displaced leaf in Blender. And you're going to get to see that in just a little bit. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Roughness. Okay, we all know what reflections are, right? So roughness is like diffusing the reflection. It's like putting a diffusion glass over between your eyes and the mirror and diffusing the reflected shapes. That's basically what this map is doing. All right. What do we have here? Scattering. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go. Let me see what else I've got down here. This is supposed to be a preview of what it's supposed to look like once you get everything set up in Blender, right? So they rendered it out. Let's maximize and see if there's anything I'm missing here. Okay, that's it. So that's your standard mapping procedure in any 3D program on the planet. Okay, so now how do we go apply this inside of Blender? All right, let's start with applying our color map. Let's go into Blender. And I originally had you guys put in a plane. I'm not going to have you do that. I'm going to delete that plane. I decided to do something else. It'll be a lot easier. So instead of the plane, let's bring in that image as planes, right? So if I go over to hit the 1 key on the numeric side to go to my front facing view, hit your Shift A and under image, bring in the image as planes. Now, remember we had to go to our preferences to allow that to happen under add-ons. If you don't have it listed here, do you guys have it listed here on your computers? It is there. Okay, good. So then left click on it. And now it's going to ask you, where do you want it? Remember, this is why being organized is important. Go get it. So you want the color map, okay? So go find a color map for your particular leaf. I'm going to go get mine. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, good. Okay, good. Just making sure I was recording. I was recording. Okay, good. I'm going to go get mine. That's just right down here. My presentations folder down here, West Hills College. Images, and I believe I got a texture maps right there. There's my hazel leaf. Let's see, render hazel leaf. Why is that not showing up? Let's see. Maybe that was the one that was empty. There we go. That was. And right up here, I've got options for viewing. I'm viewing it in list view right now. Right there, there's my color map. You can also view it in thumbnail view. Right up here in the top right-hand corner, you can go to your thumbnails and see it that way too, if that's easier for you. But I kind of know what I'm doing already, so I'm going to go to list view. I can see things faster. So I'm using the Leaf 23. Use your color map, and then import as planes. Okay. Yeah, albedo will be the color one for you. Okay, what's going on here? All right, so we can't see anything, right? Why?
Need to be in texture view.
That's exactly correct. Got to be in texture view. So move this out of the way. Go to texture view. Bing. There it is. Bing. Okay, stop doing that, Stephen. 1, 3, 1. Hit the period key to zoom in. So there is my leaf. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to clip those leaves out. So I give everybody another minute to kind of get up to speed. Does anybody need a little more time? Yes? Just say no or yes. Everybody's quiet today. At least somebody brought me green tea latte. Okay, there's my leaves. Doesn't look pretty because we need to drop our clip map on it. Now, this is where we're going to go into the shading mode. When you're texturing any of your 3D objects, you're going to go into the shading engine. So we're in the modeling now. I'm going to come right over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 over to the right on the tabs and click on shading. And zoom in close to your object so you can see what's going to be happening to it. Let's bring it on in. You guys know how to navigate already. And right at the bottom, you have your node view. And it's telling you what's connected and how it's connected. First of all, Blender, for some reason, connects your color image to the alpha channel, which is incorrect. So all you're going to do is take your cursor, put it on that dot for the alpha channel, and drag it off and release it, and that'll disconnect those two. What you want is the image, color image, into the base color. And the way nodes work is you're basically going from one color to the same color. So we're going from yellow color to base color, which is also yellow, into what we have our principled setup. So this large piece in the middle, that's your texturing engine. The smaller area off to the right is your output. Is how it's outputting the material as you see it. The orange one is your actual photograph. All right. Now, when you're in here, you can just click on one. I think by default, they're all selected. So if you move them around, they'll move together. And it's the same navigational tools, control or command or control or Alt or Option held down together, zooms in and out, right? If it's zoomed in too close, we can hit the period key on the numeric side and it'll zoom it all together. So same navigational rules. And if I click, for example, if I click off on the gray area, it deselects them all. If I click on the image, right? If I come right over here to the left-hand side, this is my image view. So if I drop this down, it should view my image. There it is. It's viewing my image now. All right, now it's viewing my image. So what we want to do is we want to make everything around those leaves transparent. Okay, so now we're going to go get the transparency map or the clip map. Now just watch me, and then you guys get to do it. I'm going to simply go to Windows Explorer, which is, if you're on a Macintosh, you're using Finder, and Windows is just Explorer. I'm going to just offset it a little bit like this. That's my clip map, right? Just drag the image right down here, and what's going to happen? See the similarities? Getting close. It's the same thing, same node as the one at the top. That's my color image. It's showing you the name of the image. I hate when I do that. Right up there. That's my opacity image right there. Okay, it's telling me the name. And if you go to the one on the top, it's giving you, that's the color image right there. So that's properly done, plugged in the color. So what I want to do is plug this in to the alpha node right there. I want to plug that into the alpha. So blacks are going to make things transparent. Whites are going to keep everything opaque. So just click on the color and go to the alpha. Okay. Now mine is working. Yours is probably not going to work. And you tell me if yours work or not. I can't hear you.
Working.
What was that? Guys, online?
Working.
It's working. Good. Perfect. That's because you and I worked on this earlier. Okay. So if you can see the background behind it, this is the thing that was not checked yesterday and why I was having problems with transparency maps. You've got right over here on the right-hand side, inside of Blender, we have two types of rendering engines. In most 3D programs, they only have one. Lightwave only has one. In Blender, there's two. The name of the engines are, and where you can find them, is on the right-hand side. See that picture, that camera icon right there? Click on it. Click on it now. And on the right-hand side, by default, it should be Eevee. But you also have a different type, but you also have another render engine, which is way better and way more powerful. Eevee is really, really, really good. But the other rendering engine is far, far, far better. That engine, if we drop down the list, is called Cycles. All right. So we're going to stay in Eevee for now. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay. Because we'll come back and we'll do something in Cycles in just a little bit. So stay in Eevee with your camera. So that's this camera, the official name is the rendering options. Your output options is right below, which looks like a printer outputting paper. That's for telling Blender where to go save your files. Like if you have an image, you want to save what you see as an image, as a JPEG or a TIFF. That's where you tell it to go. But stay right here in the rendering right now. Now, where we need to check to allow that image map to work is we go down here to the texture options. That's the second from the bottom. And we scroll down the settings near the bottom under settings. And then once you go to settings, there's a blend mode. Mine is already set to alpha blend. By default, it's not. By default, it's opaque. Boom. That's what I was getting yesterday. That's what was frustrating me yesterday. So it's this obscure little setting that they only have. Now, you don't have to do this for the color maps. You don't have to do this for any of your other maps. It's only the alpha maps. So under the settings, instead of opaque, you say alpha clip. And boom. Now you can see all through. You've got your alpha channel working for you. Is that making sense? So it's those little things like that in Blender, and every 3D program has this stuff. You know, there's these little quirks that only that program does. Like in Lightwave, I can, and then these guys can validate that for me online. I can put the black and white image in there and it'll just work, right? When Blender is kind of like you gotta go way over here and get this little setting, then it'll work. Okay, so there you go. Now, let's go talk about the other maps. Remember the bump map, which gives you fake looking bumps. They're not real bumps, they're fake bumps. Also, the normal maps do the same thing. No, the normal maps is a more advanced bump feature than the bump map. Okay, so let's do the normal map. All right, let's go up. Go back to my where all my textures are. Okay, and when you see this purple and magenta looking thing, that's called your normal mapping. All the normal map is an advanced bump map. And we're going to drag that down there right now next. Drag it right down in here. Says normal. Go back into Blender. Okay, and if I remember correctly, let's see, I'm going to take a look at this here because I'm maybe forgetting a procedure. Got it. Okay, cool. What we're going to do, I'm going to try this first. Let me see if this works. Get in close. If you look down here closely, you have a node or a node connector for normal. So if I go to the normal map, I'm going to bring it up just right next to it. Let me kind of pull this up a little bit so we can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take that color, right? And I'm going to drop it into normal. That will be your first instinct to do so. Okay? And if we come up here and take a look, it's kind of a little something's happening. Still not. Let me go unplug it and see if we can see if there's a difference. I'm going to unplug it from the normal and see what happens. Okay, not much. So if you notice, there's this yellow going to the purple. What we need, I believe, is another node. And I'm going to go find it. And I believe it's a texture node. Let's go take a look in here. I forget exactly where things are. It's not a shader node. I believe that will be a texture. Is normal in here? What's it under the vector? There we go. All right. Under the vector, Shift A, go to the vector. We have normal map. If I click it, I can drop that right down here. Now take note of something. Now I have a yellow one on this side, and I've got a purple one on this side. Immediately that tells you, oh, purple to purple, yellow to yellow. So I'm going to connect the color to the color for the normal mode. Now, here's the last gotcha. When you're working with a normal mode or any photographic image, so all these are images, right? On the bottom, you've got an sRGB. So in other words, it's telling you the color space is going to be RGB, full color. With these interactive bumping modes, you don't want RGB. You want to change it to non-color. Okay, I'm going to change it to non-color. Now we'll come over here and grab normal and plug it into normal. And there we go. We're getting a little better result, visual result. It should kind of give you a feeling that is getting stronger. Now we can increase the strength here, right? We can bring it, down low. See, up higher, down lower, up higher. See that? Play around with your strength. I'm going to pause the recording and let you guys play. When we did this alpha clip, by the way, guys, which is going to the alpha to alpha. So notice that in Blender, if I click on any of these images, they show up. They automatically display visually here. So using this alpha clip, say for example, I bring in another alpha clip. Your thinking is going to be, and this is something I discovered when I was playing around with this, is that you've already set this blend mode to alpha clip. You shouldn't have to do it again, right? Well, these settings here are indicative and only relate to that one image. So if I disconnect this and bring in another alpha map, it'll reset back to opaque. So be aware of that. So another little gotcha on Blender. Blender does not have a setting here that says automatically make it opaque by default. All right, we're going further, but we're taking a 15-minute break first. It's break time. Yay! Let me pause. Okay, so we have successfully applied our color map, our normal map, and our transparency map. So the client, in this case, let me kind of pull this down, and let me go to modeling view, but making sure I'm in my texture view here. There we go. Tab key, object mode. There we go. Okay. So we're doing this for a client that wants to build a 3D site representing different types of leaves that represents different types of plants. So we, as the Stephen Burns 3D Studio, have given this to the client. And so far, we're pretty happy with it. In fact, the last thing I might want to do is if I go over to my texture option here, let me make sure. Yep. If I go over the texture option here and go down toward the bottom, I should see, let me see if it's in here. I'm going to be doing it for the nodes anyway, but Actually, I wouldn't see it in there. Okay, forget. Scratch that. Scratch that. That's my thought there. I'm gonna go at it from a different tangent. I'm gonna go back to my shading view. So my only probably suggestion would be maybe play with the normal map just a little bit more. So there's my normal map. There's my strength, and maybe pull the strength over a little deeper. It looks pretty good. All right, so we're all happy. We give it to the client, and the client tells us that he loves it, but why does the leaf look so flat? And then we explain to the client that we gave it this texturing technique that allows us to save on rendering times, and it gives it the feeling that it's actually three-dimensional. So the client shouts back and says, I don't want no fake textures. I want real textures. I want that leaf to actually be waving and all the textures to be there and everything. And we will say, no problem. We can do that. You're the client. We'll make it happen. Right? So now we got to go back in the Blender. So we're back in the Blender. We have the normal mapping. We've got everything else applied because this is basically going to go on their website, and it's probably going to be used in the 3D engine on the website where you can actually spin it around using the click of a mouse and so forth. But he wants that leaf to actually be three-dimensional. So your first thought is, oh my gosh, we got to like go in and remodel that leaf, right? No, we don't. Because remember, we had a map called Displacement Map, right? Remember that one? Displacement Map. So let me go back up and grab it. We'll take a look at this. And I believe it was this one right here. So we have a displacement map. This map is designed to actually change the surfacing or the surface location of the points in your 3D model. Okay, so I want everybody to just watch me on this one. Don't play. This is kind of important. So I need to just use this map to displace those textures or the points on that 3D image so that it actually becomes real looking 3D leaves. All right, here we go. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my shading mode, go back to my nodes, and I'm going to bring in the displacement map. Okay, it's really easy and straightforward. So we'll go grab this. There's the displacement. Drop it on in. I'll just bring it over here to the side. Actually, I'll bring it just right underneath the actual texturing engine. And all I'm going to do is this. This needs to go into my displacement section on the output. So the output is the very thing that's showing us what we see here visually. Everything connects into the surface, and this is what we're getting visually. So I can't go, right, yellow into purple, right? That immediately tells you we need another node to help us make that connection. So Shift A, I see vector, I think is under displacement, right? Because your purple nodes are often going to be indicative of your vector options. So displacement, drop it in. What is it we want to displace? We want to displace what? The height. Right? So take the color, drag it into the height. Okay, so the image into the displacement mode. I want to see the whole thing so that you can see the changes. Okay, go grab that one and bring it on down here like so. Now I'm going to take the displacement and drag it to purple into purple and release it. Okay, so if we take a look at this, if I mess with the mid-level or increase the scaling, what's happening is nothing's happening. And the reason being is because we don't have additional points inside here. We have a flat polygon with 4 points on either side. That's the only thing we've got. Right? There's another reason too. And here's the gotcha. This is another one of those gotchas with displacements. We want to be in another rendering mode or rendering intent. We don't want to be in EV. We want to be inside of cycles. Okay. Now we need to be inside the rendering the view. Click it. There. Okay. The next gotcha is selecting under the feature set is choose experimental. Right? The last gotcha, and it depends on the graphics card that you've got. I have a very good graphics card on this machine, so I'm gonna go to GPU rendering. That's using my graphics card to do all the work and not my computer processor. So I'm gonna go to GPU rendering. Okay. Now I'm gonna go right down here to the texture. Let's see if I scroll down here to the bottom. I think it's down there. You'll see a displacement menu. Right over here, you see options for your displacement. They're the exact same thing as the options for this displacement node. So what you're looking at is the actual displacement node listed over here in the menu, and you can control it from either or. That's your choice. Okay. Here's the last gotcha. And it is a gotcha. This is one of these blender things. It's not going to work unless if you go to your settings. I'm going to go find the settings. Right down here in the bottom. Pull this out of the way. Under settings. See the displacement there? Options under the setting. Displacement. It says bump only. Right? I'm going to scroll this down a little bit. We have to make damn sure that this says displacement and bump. And if I click it, see it jump? That tells me it's now working. There's my actual plane. This is the actual visual of what it's trying to displace. Now, what's going on here? We need extra geometry in here. We need a whole bunch of more points in here to create those peaks and valleys that's going to represent those leaves. So, editing mode, and watch what's going to happen. Go to my face editing view, hit the number 3 key on the keyboard. I'm going to scroll this all the way down so you can see what's going to happen. Okay. Select all. Right click. Subdivide. Okay. Now it has more points to subdivide in here. Let's subdivide it again. Right click, subdivide. Ooh, it has even more points to subdivide. It's going crazy. Right click, subdivide. Right click, subdivide again. Whoa, it's really displacing that geometry, those leaves. How do I control it? Come right down here where we have scale and pull it on back and control it. Get in close. We're getting better. Now we can even do better. Let me turn on my light source. There we go. Even though we subdivided this, we can do better. I'm going to subdivide one more time. There we go. See, now we're getting even more detail. See?
Hey, Stephen, where's the subdivide command in the dropdown?
Oh, right click.
I right click and it's a different menu.
No, if you select all.
I've selected. Okay, select all. A.
Right click.
Right click.
Subdivide right there in front of you.
Yeah, I'm getting some other drop down. I don't know why.
Are you in editing mode?
It got out of editing mode. Okay, I was in editing mode. It's working now.
Okay,
great.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Okay.
I swear I was in editing mode.
So trust me, that's one of the gotchas of Blended. There's so many places you can be in that you got to pay attention to. But the beauty of it all is that you have complete control.
Yeah.
I mean, complete control. All right. So now I can smooth this out even more. I can add a modifier to this, right? Because right now it's jaggedy. I can add a subdivision surface modifier to this. And what subdivision surface modifiers will do is it will smooth everything out using an algorithm to make it look the best that it can. So to do so, I have to be in object mode. Whenever we use modifiers, you have to be in object mode because it's non-destructive settings. Tab menu, object mode. Now we're in object mode, okay? And we come over here to the blue wrench, go to the drop list. Under generate in the drop list, you want to go to subdivision surfaces. And then over here under the levels of view, we can increase how much more it can smooth out by going up to about 3. There we go. Now it's looking really nice. Look at that. And this is actual displaced geometry. Now the client knows you don't want it that strong on displacement because it looks like dead leaves, right? Wrinkly leaves. We want a slight displacement, so we go back down to scale. And if you hold down the shift key while you drag, it allows you to control minute movements. See? Just come on, just a little bit. There we go. See? Now it's at 0 scale. Let's go to something like 0.1. That's 0.1. How about 0.05? There. Right, 0.05. And I'm going to go back over it again. I just want you guys to watch me for now. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna go step by step. So 0.05, probably down a little lower. So maybe 0.04. 0.04. There. Maybe 0.03. Go down. 0.03. There. I think that works. And we've got physical displaced geometry. Therefore, now the client can't say anything. They're happy. Okay, so let's do this. Let's start from scratch again. I'm going to get rid of the displacement mode there. And what I want you guys to do is to go find your displacement map and drag it into. Make sure you're inside of your shader mode. Get this out of the way. Okay. Make sure you're inside your shading room where you can see your nodes. Bring in your displacement image. The next thing you're going to do when you're done is Shift A, go to Vector, and look for displacement. So get to that point. And I'm going to pause recording. Okay, so now we got to do the gotchas, right? So I'm going to, that's my displacement map here. I need to connect this into my displacement node. But I'm gonna need help because I can't go yellow to purple. So that tells me to go to my vectors, get the displacement node, drop it in between the two. If it's gray, any color can pop in here, but we're interested in the height. So we go to the color and go into height. Now, here's another gotcha. Even though it can work in color mode, your color space right down here for any of your texture affecting modes or your height affecting modes should not be in sRGB. It should be instead in non-color. Okay, that's another little gotcha there. Displacement needs to plug into the displacement there. Okay, now it's automatically displacing. But now when you do it at home on your computer, a lot of my settings have already been preset, so it's automatically responding. Okay, so what I did to let you know what settings I've got is I added a displacement modifier. The blue wrench, drop down the list, generate displacement modifier. I'm not sorry, not displacement modifier. My fault, guys. I'm thinking. My mind is thinking going 1,000 miles an hour. It's subdivision surfaces modifier. Subdivide. That's what subdivision subdivide. It subdivides it even more than what you've already subdivided. So for this to work, you have to subdivide your polygons. So let me turn that off for now so I can be fair about this. And let me go to editing mode for your leaf. Make sure you subdivide your leaf mesh quite a bit, like this. So subdivide, do that now. Subdivide your leaf mesh. Okay, somebody sent me a question. Oh, I see female PNG. Okay, I'm gonna go grab that, download that. I'll put that into my desktop. And I got a folder up there if I remember correctly. Okay, desktop. Should be a test folder. Quick access. Desktop. There we go. 3D test, is that it? I'm gonna pause recording. Let me record that state. Okay, so the question is, when I created the alpha here, and let me go back into go back into my object mode here. Okay. And for the alpha channel, for blocking out all the areas around the leaf, I'm going to go find it. Go, there's the alpha. Okay. We plug the color into the alpha. Right? Well, we can go alpha into alpha. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, look what's going on. I just disconnected alpha, so this is what we're getting. And I'm going to go alpha to alpha. And nothing happens. Why doesn't it do alpha to alpha? The honest answer is I have no idea.
I think there's no alpha channel in there, so it's not reading from the alpha. It's just a black and white color map.
Right. Well, if you would think, as he felt, that if black means transparent, right? It should
right, but
read
like in Photoshop or After Effects, you have to make it luminance. You know, the alpha from luminance.
Gotcha. In other words, you have to have an additional alpha channel in your file.
It's a JPEG. It doesn't have an alpha.
Got it. That's a very good observation. Thank you. I didn't think about that. So in Photoshop, you can make alpha channels. They're an additional channel. They're basically masking channels. So they're additional channels to your RGB. And because this does not have the alpha, we're only going to use the actual color information, then that's going to work. Did that clear up your question?
Yeah, I was wondering also, can you change the color space?
Yeah, right down here. Take the color space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Change it to non-color because we're not using color.
Right.
We're using the values of that image to create the effect.
Okay.
And that usually helps.
Is there equivalent of the image editor in Lightwave where you can adjust that black and white image in the image editor?
Yeah.
It probably is somewhere.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Complicated.
Don't complicate it.
Yeah.
Basically, you go to Substance Painter.
Yeah. Or Photoshop.
Or Photoshop, right. How we doing so far? Okay, so what was that?
Yeah, it's not an option on this computer.
What's not an option? Subdivide? Yes, it is. Go in your edit mode. Are you in edit mode? Go to face editing view. Right? If I go to edit mode, face edit, you got it? All right, there you go. Got to be in edit mode. He did the same thing online.
I don't get the option.
Yes, you do. Go to edit modes, select all, right click, subdivides right there. Oh, what was that for transparent?
I don't get the option to choose. I don't get transition.
Okay, let me come over and help you. I'm going to pause recording. Hit the record button. And once again, here's my strength. I can bring that on down. It looks like you're not seeing the effect because I'm in editing mode. Get out, go to your object mode. And play around with it. I'm sorry. I'm playing around with the normal map currently. Go to my displacement on the other side. I like to set the mid-level to 0. Mid-level is kind of affecting the starting position of the height. and then bring this on down accordingly. Right, just kind of play with that displacement. On the scale, there we go. All right, so we do lunch break. I'm going to pause the recording, start recording. So I just created two spheres. If I go over here to the folder, we're in the new document. I'm going to name one planet. And then name the other one clouds. So we can always keep organized. If you have a light now, if you have a light source, we're gonna adjust the light source next. If you don't have a light source, put a sunlight in there. So with a Shift A, go to light and add a light. And we're gonna start learning how to work with the camera a little bit too. All done with the thumb drive back there? Everybody's got two spheres open. Okay. I'm inside the modeling room for my planets. Thanks, appreciate it. Now I could apply a subdivision surfaces to this. I don't think it's going to be necessary for our purposes today. So we're going to select each planet. I'm going to target the first one, which in this case is clouds. Right click on it and then simply select shade smooth, and you're going to be in object mode, by the way. And it will smooth it, it will shade it nice and smooth as so. Next, go to your planet. I'm clicking over here on the right hand side in my collectors, in my collections. Right click and shade that smooth as well. So let's turn off the clouds, turn the eyeball off the clouds so we can see the planet only. And let's go take a look at the planet surfaces you might want to apply. In fact, I made a lot. Just go ahead and make a decision. I'm gonna go over here to the. There we go. That's what I want to look at. Let me go and find one on my D drive and go over to my presentation files, West Hills College. Okay. Under images and fictional planetary images. So go to your fictional planet images, and any of the color images for the surfaces that you want, go ahead and choose it. So you have one of Mars. They're labeled too. You got of Jupiter. I think I'll do this one here. I think I'll do this one. So we're going to add a surface. Go to your textures, click on new, and make sure you name this material planet. For your base color, don't click on the color swatch. Click on the little dot, yellow dot to the left, and choose image texture. It goes black because we have not applied the texture yet. Just to the right, click on open for the base color. Then I'm going to go get my texture. So my D drive, presentations, West Hills, images, fictional planet. Oops, wrong one. I hate it when I do that. I'm going to go to my thumbnail view so I can see what I'm doing. That's the one I want right there. There we go. So get to this point, I'll pause recording. What would you like to see? Would you like to see a displacement map on here where it's physically changed?
Displacement.
All right, there we go. Displacement. You all been overruled because you were taking too long to answer. I can't hear you.
I picked Neptune.
You picked Neptune. Well, it doesn't matter. But we'll use the same image map for a displacement. What was that? You didn't care? Okay, that's good you didn't care because now it's displacement. Okay. All right, here we go. So you guys practice with displacement already. You think you remember how to do it?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. So normally there's a black and white version of the map for displacement, but in this case we don't. So what Blender's going to do is automatically change all that color to grayscale, because that's just what it does anyway in displacement mode, and then displace your map. Now remember, just keep this in mind. If we go into the edit mode, you notice that you got a limited amount of texturing. What I would recommend doing is just give it one subdivide like this, then get out of here, go back to your object mode, and come over to the modifiers, the blue wrench, and give it a subdivision surface near the bottom, subdivision surface modifier, and make sure your levels of view is set to 3. Or both of these should be set to the same number. All right, so get to that point, and I'll pause the recording. I'm going to record it, so I'm going to walk through it while you guys are working. All right, so I went ahead, applied the subdivision surface to it. I'm going to go to my shading mode. Okay. I'm going to have to bring the actual image. Now, here's the image here. Now, here's a little trick. We're utilizing the same image for the displacement map as we are for the color map. I can just select the image, Shift D to duplicate it, and just bring it on down. You don't have to go up and drag and drop it back in again. All right. Then we come down. I'm going to bring it to the right because what we're going to do is we're going to use this to displace the plug into our output node here into displacement. But the key is you got to have a displacement node to do so. Shift A and move this stuff out of the way in the bottom. Pull that up there. Shift A. It was vector displacement. Okay. Color image into the height. And this is where you tell the color image just to ignore the colors, it's in the color space here. Just tell it to be non-color. All right, so it's in the height. Take the displacement, put it into displacement. There it is. Now, to make sure this is accurate, we want to make sure that we are in cycles render mode. Now, to see this, we got to go to our render mode. There. And instead of EV, you're going to be in cycles. Instead of my processor being used, I'm going to go to the graphics card, the GPU. Now it makes it a little faster. So I'm rotating the planet around a little bit. For the feature set, so we got cycles, GPU compute, dead center, set it to experimental. Go to my texture tab. I'm going to come down to the bottom. Go to my settings. Set a bump only. I want displacement and bump. See? It's probably your display your scale on your displacement is going way to negative or something. Mine blew up because of what? If I go to my displacement node, it's high. So if I go to mid-level and bring it down to 0, we'll take it to there. Let me kind of pull it down. It's kind of cool, huh? Kind of cool. And then I go to the scale. Remember, pull it down. See? I'm gonna go up a little bit. There we go. Hold on a minute. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. See? There we go. Now there's actual displaced surfaces on there. You can see right along that edge, those are actual displaced surfaces. All right, definitely get to that point. So let me pause the recording. I'm gonna come and help everybody else out over there. So I'll go on and do it on your own, but I'll go ahead and record this, and you're welcome to watch me. Let's go back and take a look at my image maps. There we go. So I got a variety of options here for clouds. I can probably fake using some of these as clouds, even though this is for a landscape. But because of the brightness that I have on this, I can probably use this as a transparency map for clouds. But I don't know. We'll see. Let me take a look at what else I've got in here. If I go up, well, I've got this one here, which I think will work just fine too. And this is an actual transparency map for clouds. So I'm going to use that as a transparency map on my cloud sphere, right? So, all right, let's keep that in mind. Let's go back to Blender. Okay, and let's turn off the planet for now. Let's turn on the clouds. Now, before I do anything, I'm gonna go to transparent mode. Okay, I'm gonna turn back on the planet underneath it. I want to make the clouds just slightly bigger than the planet. So targeting the clouds here, S key for scale, and just bring it up just a little bit bigger than the surface like that, right? Is that making sense? And I want to be in this mode here. Since I was in X-ray mode, I want to be able to see. I can see through it just a little bit, right along the edges. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn off the planet. There's my sphere for the clouds. Now remember what we need to do in Blender. That once I set a scale, guys, right? If I come over here, go to the side here. I'm gonna go back and there we are. See, it says 1 to 1 to 1 on the scale. Nope. We got to reset it to 1 to 1 to 1. Control A, reset the scale. Now everything's 1 to 1 to 1. So just don't forget about that when you're modeling. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and add transparency to this. So I am going to start by giving us a surface. Right, hit the new, double click it, call it clouds. When we're giving the clouds kind of a white color, that's fine. And once again, I'm inside my shade mode. Kind of pull this stuff on down to the bottom. So kind of keep it out of the way. All right, so I'm in my shading mode. Okay. Pull this one down, take a look. So we're going to use that image for shading. So I'm going to go and get it real fast. And I'm just going to drop it down in here like so. At this point, it's pretty simple. Oops, go to my home tab. Go. Take my clouds, plug it into my alpha. Okay. Let's go to my rendering mode. There we go. All right, so there's my alpha. Looks like it's working. So let me go ahead and go to my texture. And as I rotate this around, I ain't seeing through to the bottom. Actually, let's turn on the actual planet. There it is. Working. The clouds are right on top. It's kind of cool. All right, so I'll let you guys work in a few more minutes, and then I'm going to show you how to bring in stars. And I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so what I should mention is that what I've noticed everybody was doing is they were forgetting to go to your rendering mode to preview it, and you're also forgetting to make sure that your rendering intent here for your render options is going to be cycles and not EV. If I go to EV, so you're not going to see it, right? So you want to go to cycles. All right, I got the GPU on. And there's some other little tricks you can do too, as well. Let me check something out here. Let me go back to my node. I want to see what happens. Is this one was set to, this is RGB space, that's for the alpha. All right, and let's see if we just set that to non-color. Okay, that's fine. And there's my alpha. Let me try, well, maybe not. Go see something here. I want to try another little technique here. I'm just going from memory. I'm going to go over here to my shader. I've got a transparent shader. Right? Along with, go back to my shader. Along with my mixer shader. Okay. All right. Here's a neat little trick. I think it's going to work. Let's see something here. That's for my displacement. I think if I remember correctly. All right, so I think it goes into here. All right, let me see if this works. There's another way to set it up, and I'm going from memory. And what is it? That's for the surface? Okay, that's interesting. Let me see if this works. What if I take this, brought that to Trent into here, pull this one into there, pull this one into, well, that's a volume. Oh, I know what it is. That's what it is. Okay, forget it. Forget that I scratched that. I want to apply this. I want to keep my transparency in the alpha channel. I want to do that for volume. I want to do that for atmosphere. Okay. As much as I like the displacement surface, I'm not digging the color map, okay? I'm not digging the color map. So I'm going to keep my displacement, but I'm going to get another color map. So I'll come on over. Oh, in fact, what happened? I had duplicated my map. My map disappeared. Maybe that's my problem. Okay, let me go here. Shift D. I had duplicated this earlier. Somehow it disappeared. Getting closer. Drag that into my base color. Let me see what it looks like. Come on. Yeah, I'm not digging that color map. Let me, actually, this is an RGB color. That's non-color. Hold on a minute. Let me go to RGB color. All right. Yep. Okay. Not digging that map. I'm going to disconnect this. I'm just going to put it off to the side. I'm going to go get another one. Let's go do, I love this one from Mars. All right. I'll drag that on down. So this will be a Mars looking color, but the bump map will be from another image. So I'm mix and matching, which you are welcome to do. Base color. There we go. That's your color map. Yeah, I'm not liking that one either. So I'll go back to what I had. There we go. Grab this one, take it off. Hitting the X key to delete that. I'll go bring this on back. These two are just made for each other. There we go. And over there we go. You can see my map surface there. It's kind of nice. Getting closer. All right, sunlight's probably a little bit too harsh. Go to my light source. Go to the photo of the light bulb, second from the bottom. That's what properties for my light. And I can bring down the intensity. So I'm going to go to like 100 instead of 1,000. That's a little bit too dark. So we'll go 500. Maybe about 600. Okay. Then my background image is so bright that the clouds kind of fade in a little bit, but you can see them in there. So, shall we do some stars? Stars coming up. How you guys doing online? You okay?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Cool. So I guess we didn't get the young lady that was here with us last time. That's all right. They'll get the recording. All right, here we go. Stars. Now, what the beauty about Blender is that it can put a background map. And what a background map is a giant sphere wrapped around your entire 3D scene. And we can texture that sphere however we want. So in order to do so, here's something we got to pay attention to. What have we been texturing so far? The objects, right? Well, what if we want to texture the background? If you look down here, right above your nodes, on the top left-hand corner, it says we've been editing the objects. If we drop down the list, now we're going to go edit the world. And click it, we get to edit the world. Now, over to your right, you have another symbol that represents your background, and we were up here looking at the render and the output. If we go down to this little red looking globe there and click it, this is your background properties. So can I change my background color? Sure. Let me kind of pull this down here. Okay. If I go to the color and go past that little dot over to the right here and click it, I can change the background color to whatever I like. So if we go to like real dark, like space, as space is supposed to look. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to create an image map on that background environment. Right? So I'll bring it back up to where it was. We're going to create an image. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use procedurals. And what procedurals are basically vector shapes, vector generated shapes. Same as the vector technology that we use in Adobe Illustrator. And they're non-destructive. So here, I'm going to bring in a node for a shader to create some vector shapes. So all eyes up here. Watch me first. I'm in the world view now because I'm no longer going to edit the objects, right? I'm now going to edit the world 3D sphere. I'm going to hit Shift A, and I believe, let me kind of go up here, Shift A, and I believe it's under texture, and I'm going to add a noise texture, and click, and put it right there. All right, now I'm going to go, for now, go color to color, and let's see what happens. Look at that. That background, we've just created something in the background. Get to this point. Okay, recording's on. Take a look at this. It's done something. It's created noise based on red, green, and blue, and same magenta and yellow textures. I want this to be black and white. So instead of hooking color to color, I'm going to go to the FAC to color. Okay, FAC to color. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the scale. If I take the scale and pull it to the right, all those dots back there that's really big start to become really small like this. So go somewhere, do something like upwards of 200, like that. So keep in mind what we're doing is that this 3D object that we're texturing actually surrounds our entire background, and our entire scene is being lit with that object. All right, so if we were in Photoshop, I would be able to edit this map by going to levels and strengthening the blacks and strengthening the whites. We're going to do something very, very similar. We're going to use an option called color ramp, which is kind of acts like levels in Photoshop. So how do I access that? I access that by going to Shift A, and I think it's under, gosh, I forget exactly. I believe it's under, not shader, it's under converter. Yes, under converter, color ramp. See that? It kind of looks like levels in Photoshop. And if I drop it right in between there, all right, so we got FAC to FAC, and then yellow to yellow. Now, what are we going to do? Watch me. I'm going to take this black and make it blacker until what? We start to have stars. See? Cool, huh? See, I got smiles now in the classroom. Like stars, that's cool. And you can rotate it around anywhere you want, and it's all those stars all the way around there. I'm curious about something.
You want to be primarily black and white.
Ooh, look what I can do. I can change the color of the stars. Right? So right down here, if you click on any of these nodes, this represents black. So you're mixing black with white. And right down here, so if I click on the black, this becomes black for you to change. If I click on the white or the blue one here, now this color is where it's going to change. So I can double click this and make it like a magenta. Okay, just playing around with this. We're going like a little blue stars. Okay. Isn't that cool? And of course, your light source itself. Go target my light. Go to my light properties right down here on the bottom, the picture of a light. And of course, you can change the color here. Maybe go more of a yellowish. All right, it's break time. I'm going to pause recording. Go ahead and start recording this. I'll come back and get this file in just a moment. I'm going to go open, and I believe Planet That Works. There we go. Okay, let's go to our view here. There we go. Okay. All right, so now the atmosphere, in which I'm not quite sure why Blender is not showing me. I mean, maybe it is showing me. That is the nodes for the atmosphere. Okay, that's right. Okay, good. All right, so texture, color ramp, surface. That's a noise node. This is the noise node. No, this is the background. All right, there is a problem in that when I click on my objects, the nodes, surfacing nodes are not coming up per object. That usually happens if I have this thing here targeted. So that if I switch between objects...
Stephen, aren't we looking at the world nodes and not the object node?
Okay, I knew that.
Gee.
There we go. Let's get out of the pin one. Oh, shut up. They're laughing at me. There we go. Yay. Good point. Thank you. Right, go. There we go. I thought I was in object modes. However, I'll tell you this one. This is another gotcha. You're going to accidentally click this little button right there. And then you're going to go to clouds, and you're going to go to atmosphere, and nothing's going to move. Which is the point I was trying to make, right? It stays the same. And it's going to make, but it's because of this little pin here. If you unclick it, now you can go to each set of the nodes for every object. So be aware of that. Because you may accidentally click it, not realizing what that is, and then things aren't going to work right. Alright, so I want to go over to my atmosphere. Let's take a look at this puppy. It's very simple. It's just 3 nodes. Well, it's basically one node. It's just a color ramp, a principal value with a color ramp attached to it. Right? Just a principal volume. So a volume is a cloud. That's right. It's taking any 3D object and making it behave like a cloud or mist or dust. Right? And with that volume, we can texture it to look very interesting, get some very interesting effects. And here, I told it to be a volume, and I connected the volume into a color ramp, and we utilized the color ramp to control the highlights. So if I take a look at the black slider, right, I'm going to click on it. You see what's happening here? I can control the glow of the atmosphere, or come over to the right and control the intensity along the edge. Right? I can add in other nodes, I believe. And let's see the color ramp. Do I have that here? Right here, you see a little plus button. I can add in another node. So if I click here, double click on this color, let's give it like a magenta or something like that. There you go. See, I'm creating another color range. So you can do a lot of very, very fun stuff with this. I've got linear. We can go to cardinal and see what it does. We can go to, I think the linear is what that was by default, right? B-spline is giving you various fall-off adjustments here, or algorithms, constant. That's a whole nother effect there. We'll go back to linear. Okay, and then this one here, if I want to pull it over toward the black or pull it over toward the highlights, or if I want to get rid of it, hit the minus. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to add another sphere, put it slightly bigger than your cloud sphere, and what you're going to do is you'll give a new surface, but it'll be a principal volume. So let me get out of this, all right, and go back and open the last one I just had. I can have multiple instances of Blender open, but because of my graphics card being taxed, I don't want to do it. So open recent planet that works. Don't save this one. There she is. Go ahead and go to my render mode. There she is. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to go back to open recent, and I want planet tutorial final. Don't save. There we go. Now go to our render mode here. Let's go put on another sphere. So Shift A, add in another UV sphere, S key for scale, and make it just slightly above that, right about there. That works. Now, this is how we apply the volume, the principled volume. We will go down to the surfacing option. There's no surface, click on new. Here it's a principled BSDF, standard texturing mode for our models. Hit the little green button on the left, and we want principled volume right there. Almost dead center. Click it, and you're going to get that effect. Okay, so get to that point, and then we'll go on further from there. I'm going to start recording. There we go. All right, now what you want to do next is get out of the surface mode, because now that this is a volume, I want to treat it like a volume. Currently, it's trying to treat it like a surface. Why? Because of this material output mode. So get out of the surface, take it to volume, and there you go. And you've got your atmosphere. Now, now you can change the color of your atmosphere by I double click this here. I can change it to, whatever I want here. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to use a color ramp to assist us. So Shift A, converter, color ramp. Put it right. Things move around on me in Blender. So volume and the FAC. Okay. Let's see what we get. Come on. See? So now we can start controlling the interior compared to the exterior. Change the color. Maybe you want your plant to be more of the warm surface that's reflecting from. And just play around with that. There's another node that I found interesting too. Let me see if I can converter. It was an add node, input. Add shader. I think that's going to go over in, let's see, where would that go? Color. I'm curious about something. I'm curious to see what happens if I know I can't do it there. Maybe. No, that's not what I want. Let's go to my volume. Just play around with these controls here. I think that'll help quite a bit. Let's see if I've got an option in here. liking this mode here quite a bit. Go. You can bring photographic textures back in there as well. Let me show you guys that. I'm gonna go to my world mode. Right? Now remember, I had you guys download. Let me see if I can find it here. It was those stars textures. Let me go find it real quick. Images. The James Webb folder I had you guys download. These guys. View menu, extra large, right? Now what if I brought that in there as a background for just for the back area? So I'm going to go drag this on down. And currently we're applying, am I in world mode? Yes, I am. So what we're doing is we're applying a procedural texture. So let me see if I'm gonna pull this away. And normally I'm gonna go color directly into the color for the background, but I'm gonna see what the color ramp is gonna give me. Nothing. Okay. All right, so let's disconnect this. Go to the color for the background. Oh, you know what? It actually may give me something. I forgot something. You need your texture node coordinate here in the beginning. So let me go Shift A. Is it under the input? Texture coordinate right there. You gotta have this. And if you look at the top, they're all purple. Generated goes directly into the vector, and there it is. We just used a photographic image, the map on our background, photograph from the James Webb telescope, and look, it's utilizing the lights from that texture to light my scene. So if you notice right about in here, kind of pull this down, we get this stretching distortion. That is because we go over here to the texture. All right, so I'm forgetting where that is. I know multiple, let me take it. Okay, is this it? Interpolation. I want the background. I'm in the background. Under the settings, let's see where. Oh, view. There it is. Viewport display. There. Viewport display, and it's under the color management. That I know. Let me go find this real quick. So, color. There we go. Settings. And there was a color management, I believe it is. Okay, multiple. Let me go find this. All right, I'll find it in just a little bit. Let me kind of pull this back up. What we want to do is we want to tell the background to be spherical and not linear. That's why we're getting this distortion. and I forget it. Where? Okay, so, oh, here it is. Maybe it's here, right here, on the image. Linear. There it is that it? No, I don't think this is it. I'm gonna go to smart. Yeah, no, it's not it. I know. We'll keep that linear for now. It's over here, and I'm forgetting, guys. Sorry about that. I'm totally. I said go to the backdrop. Here it is. That's right. Go to the backdrop options here. Go to the color here, and in the color, we should have a. Let's see. Some of the settings. Here it is. It's right in here. I gotta pull it out. Okay, RGB surface is linear. Now that's not it either. Hold on a minute. It's in here. I'm in the right place now. It's got to remember where it is. Is it under viewport display? Go to settings, surface, viewport display. Custom properties. All right. Interpolation, linear, cubic. It's in here. Gosh, this is the problem. If you don't work with background objects all the time, you forget. There's an option in here to tell it to be cubic, spherical, or linear for the background. And I remember it being under color management. And I remember it being, I'm thinking under the background options. So I'm going to my preview. Maybe it's here. Preview. Huh. I know it's spherical. Strength. Now, the strength, take a look at this, just so that you're aware of this one. The background is actually lighting this image, right? You can see that, as I rotate the image, you can see how lighting is affecting the object. And I can come in here and take the strength higher, and it makes it brighter, right? Or bring the intensity down lower. That's interesting. That distortion seems to have gone away. What was that? Oh, for the background? Oh, the background is, pull this on up, bring in the actual texture. So our background originally had, our textures originally was we put in the stars utilizing the noise texture. So this one, I brought in an image texture here. That's the image texture. I connected it to the color ramp, and then also bring in a texture coordinate node. That's under the vector section. So Shift A, vector texture coordinate node, connect generated to vector, and then that'll show your background. All right, and then let's see if I can find this. Is it not here? Let me see. Is there a color management? Here, color management. All right, that's not looking familiar. Gosh, I'm forgetting. There is, I swore it was under the backdrop here. Let me just kind of take my time. You know what? Let's try this. What if I go the rendering, take it out of cycles and go to EV? Maybe it's something you can only see in EV. And I didn't realize it. Okay. Color ramp. Viewport display, color. Yeah, I have less settings with EV. Yeah, I've got a lot less settings. So, gosh, I don't remember. Damn it, I hate it when that happens. But I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna open it up. It's gonna be right there staring at me. It's gonna there it is. Okay, so to my camera mode, go back to Psychos. And I swore it was right under here. So I'm gonna check one last time. Okay, volume. Okay, that's not it. Wait a minute. Repeat. Okay, let me go check here. I remember. I'm gonna pause recording and I remember I'm gonna come back and record it. I sincerely hope everybody learned a lot, and I really had a fun time with you. This is it was kind of a blessing that it fell into my lap that I was going to do this 4-day workshop up here at Kalinga College. So it's been a lot of fun. You guys were great. You were enthusiastic. Everybody was enthusiastic. You soaked it up and did some great work. So, all right, I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to get back to you, Larry.